What is up, my tricksters? It's your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh! Superhero back again. Uh, Today we're going to be doing a Gouki deck profile. I'm really excited about it because, when we get to the deck, I'm going to show you some really cool stuff. But before we get into that, guys, I do want to remind you that there are a few ways that you can support this channel, and I would like you to do that. It keeps me doing what I'm doing. Also, so I can update some of these decks from time to time, etc., etc. So make sure you do that. Make sure you go into the description below and check out your playmats. If you use my link, I get a kickback, and you can put any artwork on the sleeve or mat that you order from them. And if you see anything you like on my Instagram, by the way, because sometimes I make Yu-Gi-Oh art, I will not be offended. I'm just saying. Yeah, so make sure you go do that too. And the other thing you can do to support this channel is you can go and buy a t-shirt or a mug or something from my spring store. You can get some artwork with Frank's face on it, or you can go get something with some dinosaur stuff. I've made a few things. You should go check it out. There's a few really cool stuff. I even have like a parody logo of the Jurassic Park logo, only with Ultimate Tyranno instead of an actual T-Rex. So go check that out. Anyway, guys, as with all of my deck profile videos, I'm going to show you some replay footage first so you can see the deck in action. And then I will do an in-depth deck profile, and I'll show you the deck, and I'll show you the cards, and I'll talk a little bit of combos, and that'll be it. So let's go check that out. All right, there you have it, guys. That was the replay footage. I hope you guys enjoyed that and found that entertaining. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and go over this deck profile, and then we'll explain a few things. All right, so the first thing we got is the one Gouki Bear Hug. This guy, when he's special summoned, or, well, I think when he's just summoned, period, he gets to half an opponent's monster. It does come up. Then we got our Rescorpio. This guy is just a big monster that we can normal summon without a tribute, which is really handy. Then we got a Codebreaker 0 Day. This guy is a very important extender. Then we have Gouki Suprex. This guy is a big centerpiece for the Gouki strategy. And now, have you ever thought, now this guy's going to look a little bit weird. This is Colonial on C-String. Have you ever thought, if you were playing Gouki, it's like, man, I wish I had more Suprexes, or it was more, or I would see him more often, because this guy's kind of one of your major starters. Well, guess what? Colonial C-String is the same as Gouki Suprex, except Colonial C-String has this really cool thing where he gets to summon you 2 level 4 or lower warriors. So now it's like we're playing 5 Gouki Suprexes instead of just 1. It's a really cool, awesome extender. It's just because we're playing a very like warrior-centric version of it, this guy's really awesome. I wouldn't recommend playing more than 2 because, like I said, these 5 guys are your starters. This is just kind of like guarantee you'll get at least 1. Then we got your Twist Cobra. This guy can tribute a Gouki to give another Gouki more attack points. It's a quick effect. It rarely comes up, but it does come up. Then we got Junk Forward. This is just a free summon. That's it. He's an extender. Gouki Iron Claw is just another one of the Goukis we summon, but also is a hand trap like monster where it can make a Gouki monster gain 500 and be unaffected for the remainder of the turn after this effect resolves. Then we got Gouki Headbat. Now, for the longest time, I was only playing 2 of this guy, and then I realized later you really do need to play 3 of this guy because this guy is a Gouki and an extender. One of the things that the Goukis really do lack is extension. Within their archetype. So Headbat is actually one of the only ones that does it. Suprex is kind of a starter and kind of extends, but like they don't have anything. It's like, oh, you control a Gouki, summon me. So Gouki Headbat is the closest we've got to it. So you really have to play all of your extenders. Then we got Gouki Guts. This card is just another Gouki name, but also has this really unique effect where if he's in defense mode, he can't die in battle. He also can increase the attack points of all the Gouki monsters by 200. You'll rarely use that. Like most of the Goukis, you'll just use the graveyard effect to search. But sometimes the ability to not die in battle does come up. Then we got Octo Stretch. This card is another one that I think you should play 3 of because this guy isn't just a Gouki, searcher monster, because that's kind of what they all do. When they go to the graveyard, they search for another Gouki card. Well, not all of them, but like 99% of them. Octo Stretch is one I think you should play at 3 because it's also a hand trap. You can ditch it to cut damage in half, and that does come up. Then we got the Gouki Ring Trainer. This card is kind of like a Monster Reborn-esque card for Goukis. You're mostly going to be using it with your Giant Ogre is mostly the combination there. Then we got the one Instant Fusion here. You can put anything you want in there. I went with Guilty of the Night because he's a really cool-looking warrior. And I just like, you know what? Let's go for something that looks cool. So that's what I went with. It doesn't really matter. This is just so you have another free monster you can summon. And then we have Gouki Face Turn. This one is kind of another Monster Reborn-esque card for Goukis. Basically, you got to tribute a Gouki, basically, to get a Gouki. Or it's basically what it does. You swap it. That's all you're doing. Which will cause the Gouki you send to give you another one, so it's kind of like, cool, it's a break-even, and sometimes like I said, it brings back Goukis that you really need on the field. Like, say, for example, your Giant Ogre. It's one of the more powerful cards. Rhoda searches everything, all the monsters in this deck. This card is just epic. Then we got Gouki Finishing Move. This card is very important. It's something you're going to want with the Giant Ogre more than any of them. This is going to help you finish the game out. It's just one of your routes to take. Because, your power load will be your main, but your secondary OTK is going to be the Giant Ogre. Then you got your Gouki Rematch. This is basically Soul Charge in this deck. It is stupid and crazy, and I love it. Yeah. Then we got Upstart. We got 39 card deck. Monster Reborn, because we need all the extension that we can possibly get. That's also why we're playing World Legacy Succession. We're playing 1-on-1. We're trying to get as many monsters in the field as possible to keep making our big-ass monsters. The one Called by the Grave, it does come up. There are certain hand traps that you really want to stop. Most hand traps you can kind of get around. Like ashing a Gouki deck is a stupid move. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this right now. If you have an Ash Blossom and you drop it against the Gouki player is in their head, they're laughing at you. And the reason why is because I guarantee you did not stop the important card in the succession there, because most of the time in Goukis, most of those cards are going to be like going off at once. Also, the really fun thing about Goukis also is that they're not Nibiru proof, but people who are playing Nibiru don't want to use it because they're going to give you a bunch of resources and you might get to keep playing. And it's like, because they just float. And if they let you go too far, some of the Gouki monsters don't care. They're going to be like, tribute me? Not happening, bro, Jajo. Then you got your Twin Twisters, because we hate the back row. Hate the back row. It's a pain in the butt. Back row decks do have the tendency to kind of stop us before we get going. Funny enough, with C-String here, against back row decks, we do have a better matchup because he does summon 2 monsters instead of 1, so a lot of players will they'll get rid of him. Whereas like with Suprex, you stop him, you destroy him or whatever, and that leaves us with 1 monster, which is not enough to link off. But with this guy, it's a guaranteed link off at least, so there's that, or guaranteed, you know what I mean. Then we got our different dimension reincarnation. This is one of the cards we're going to be pitching off of Isolde in the extra deck, as well as if we draw it, it's a potential to get something that's been banished back. We got a Moon Mirror Shield. It's just if I have to have equip spells for Isolde, but I also want those equip spells to be useful in some manner. So this card is kind of a pseudo Monster Reborn. This card is like, oh, okay, well, at least I can guarantee I can punch over something. And then, of course, we got the sword, which is a combo piece because it can make some of our discards free, or it can increase our monster's attack points by a little bit, which, doesn't come up immediately, but does come up. And like with this card and this card, like for example, we banish those warriors, then we draw this guy later. We can get one of those warriors back. It's all good. And actually, funny enough, this card can be the discard fodder, so it's like we didn't give up anything for it. All right, now we're going over the extra deck. Of course, like I said, our instant fusion target. We got our giant ogre. This guy is actually the secondary strategy. Power load is the primary. Okay, so with power load doesn't care about anything as long as, like, pretty much once he comes out, as long as he was link summoned successfully, he is unaffected by everything. He doesn't care about other card effects. The only effects that he is affected by are his own, and that's it. The other monsters, he does not care. And while you have other, like, link monsters, their link rating will give him more points. So basically, you get 2 of these guys out, they jump up to 3,600, and they're pretty beefy to stop at that point. And if they get any more, we get any more link monsters, they just get bigger. I mean, it's really easy to get 4,000 unaffected monsters on the field. Stupid easy in this deck. And then, like I said, the giant ogre here is the secondary strategy because he's unaffected, but only by monsters with equal to or less attack than him. And he also has the ability to negate something that targets. And if his attack is different from his original, whether it was gained or lost, he can give himself an extra 1,000 bonus. So basically, that's where like things like finishing move, Iron Claw, Twist Cobra, that's where their attack modification effects may come into play. With this guy, as well as, like I said, if you were up against something that targets, you can go, okay, cool, I negate that, and now I can give myself 1,000 points. So then he gets a 500 attack boost instead of a 500 loss or whatever. It's fantastic. I love this card. He's the secondary strategy. Then we got our code breakers here. I'm going to move this guy around. These 2 guys work in tandem with each other. Virus Swordsman and Virus Berserker. Basically, these guys are what lead you into the Power Load Ogre. That's the combo. So it's like make power load with however you can get to it, whether it's 4 Gouki monsters or, climbing through Isolde, which is what we typically do. And then you use your rematch, bring back 2 Goukis, you make the Virus Swordsman, and then he gets you the 0-day Codebreaker from the deck, and then you guys link off into this guy, and then he brings those 2 guys back, and then you make your second Power Load Ogre using this guy and like preferably 0-day, and then you keep the swordsman because he's gonna give attack points to the power load. Then we got another one, Gouki Solid Ogre. This guy is, think of him as a smaller version of the power load. As long as he's, I believe, the big thing is he can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. So that's the big thing that he can do. And then once per turn, he can like target a Gouki monster and move the zone. That's a quick effect. That's not typically relevant, but you know, it could come up. I mean, if somebody was playing Mech Knights or something, I mean, I could go, okay, cool, Solid Ogre, move the monster to a different zone. Haha, now my effect's not negated or whatever. It could happen. Then we got Thunder Ogre. Think of this guy as like another like Gem Knight Sapphire or whatever, the one that gives you an extra normal summon. This guy, that's what this guy does. He basically gives an extra normal summon for Gokis. That's what you're using. He's just another route to climb into Power Load. Then we got the Jet Ogre. He's just there to be link climbed into the Power Load. That's literally what him and the Heal Ogre here, which I'm gonna move these around. These three guys all serve the same purpose. Jet Ogre can be a little more useful if we're going for Giant Ogre, because he can give a Gouki monster a 500 attack boost. So that's kind of relevant in that, but the rest of these guys are just used to climb into the bigger ones. Heal Ogre does also have a negation effect, but it rarely comes up because, you know, they got to put in order for him to negate, the monster has to be directly in front of him. Then we got just our kind of like, well, one of the other key pieces of this deck, is the Isolde. This is the main monster we're going for. We make Isolde, we get our searches off our Gokis, we get our search of a card we can't use this turn. That is typically Retrainer I use, or sometimes I'll get something that I'm just going to like, okay, this will be a starter for the next turn. So I'll search C-String or maybe a Junk Gouki I don't plan on using this turn. Like Bear Hug, for example. Because Bear Hug is only going to get summoned out of the graveyard or off the effect of like Suprex. So... So basically, it's just usually used as cannon fodder with like Headbat, admittedly. But and then we can get up to a level 3 with the equipped spells. But usually, I just ditch one and summon Guts or Octostretch. And then like I said, we're climbing into Power Load. Then we got Nightmare Phoenix. It's a pop. Ferocious Flame Swordsman. He mostly just is there to increase the attack of all the warriors. Kind of help facilitate OTKs, and if he does die, he does give me a warrior back. I believe it does have to be a non-link warrior, which is fine because we'll pick a Gouki. That Gouki will probably die and then give us a search so we can play on the next turn. So that's kind of his role. It's just kind of cycle through things. And then we have a tech one that doesn't really... I have not played this monster since it's been in here. It's like rarely ever comes up, but if it does... One of the really cool things you could do is if there are monsters in the correct zones, you play Geonator Transverser here. You swap a Gouki with one of your opponent's monsters, preferably something that's a little bit on the stronger side. Then you smack the Gouki, and the Gouki dies, and you get a search and stole their monster scot-free. So it doesn't come up too often. I have yet to have this. I've been able to use this in a duel. Just because, like, most of the time, like, these three guys are just enough to win it out. There's no reason to, like, try to steal their monsters. But it's a good backup plan. And it also makes it easy. Like, for example, if you guys need, like, wiggle room because you want to play other things, you can easily just take out, like, these two guys. And boom, you have a room for 2 more monsters that you even think might be more relevant for your Gouki strategy. I'm just putting stuff in here that I like for either aesthetic reasons or as backup plans that I like. You can do what you want. Anyway, so there you go, guys. I hope you guys found this informative. I hope that the Gouki players might actually want to try this awesome tech, Colonial on C-String, because this guy actually, like I said, he's Gouki Super X, except he gives you 2 monsters instead of 1. It's just a free, oh look, 3 monsters, boom, done. Let's go. And... like I said, with Goukis, there's a lot of things that people are scared to deal with. Like I said, like you go the C-String, you summon 2 Gouki monsters, and even if you do start going off, they're like, I don't want to Nibiru him. If I Nibiru him, he just gets searches and gets to keep going. And there are still other cards that are actually beneficial to this deck that I'm not playing that you could play if you happen to have them. So if you're like worried about Nibiru, like you could obviously also side something like, you know, Prohibition, call Nibiru if that's something you're worried about, because Nibiru is kind of one of the outs to this deck, kinda, but the opponent is really pressured because, like I said, they have to decide, okay, do I want to go ahead and Nibiru him now, because if I do it now, he's going to get a bunch of searches, which I'm going to get those searches anyway, either way, and then I'll continue to get to play. Or do you want to try and wait for me to finish out my summons and then do it? Because the funny thing is, depending on what I'm summoning, it's not going to care. Like, if I summon these three guys, Giant or Power Load, they look at Nibiru and giggle. Like, you can't tribute me, dummy. I'm not going anywhere. So, you know, and that is just hilarious. I've seen some guys get pretty frustrated with these three guys, especially because, like, particularly they're not doing anything to their board. They're just kind of like, I'm sitting right here. I ain't going nowhere. Anyway, guys, I hope you like that. I hope you found that amusing. And if you're new to the Ben 10,000 yugioh channel, please consider subscribing. I think we're getting really close to 1,300. So if you guys want to help push me over the edge and get me to that 1,300 mark, it'd be greatly appreciated. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.